Hi, everyone. So we're going to do part two, Washington, D.C., and we're going to see exactly what else is going on and what it was the actual energy. The actual energy is that it was so historic and it was perfectly played out and planned out on the architecture to the placement of the buildings to actually gain and harness energy in a positive way to continue communications intuitively and instinctively to do the right thing in all forms to protect the United States. And that's why it's such an epicenter, such an epicenter. But there was a lot more. Usually they can tell everyone what's going to go on during the day by 8 in the morning, they say. But honestly, you can feel the energies change. It is a melting pot. It is such a continuance on. But this is a place where when you go there, it is very like set in stone logic to where there's a lot of contemplation. And when I see the hermit card, it really is hard. It really is hard. But in reality, it isn't. It really isn't. So when we look at it on a further dig and a dive in, you have to say, what is true? I see a lot of things have gone wrong, but also too, when I go back to Ford's Theater specifically, it is such a rich building of energy that when I go and if I point at it, I'm saying this is rich and this is B and this is known and this is, then I look over and I say, yeah, because I'm looking at the Washington Monument and that is C, A, B, C, D, E. And that really is something of a good, because then you can say that area connects high energy, that connects messages. But let's really focus on the Washington Monument because that really comes out. Now, the history of monoliths is a good thing because it comes through as such um stoic energy of a solidifier that it was a good known that George Washington was the one to be the one to know the one to say, be a bay. I'm the one to control it. And he took harness of the family. So when I'm looking at the history of this, it was a lack of teamwork. There was no apprenticeship on making this, but they looked good, but they were able to figure this out. And when they looked upon the layout of the whole idea, you look and you say it was meant to be placed there as a protect to help with destabilization of something coming in that was negative to destabilize towards it. That story of the monolith is so true. You can't get through to it. It really is a stoic monument. It takes away a lot of balance. It has a turning point and it has a walking away. And it is a good thing because when you set foot in stone on a barefoot, it brings me back to these historical figures that we've talked about on how they got these messages on building it the way that they did. And they said a lot of it in mediumship is just intuitively. So I'm just going to call upon a mediumship about those who built the George Washington Monument. It really was a stoic figure of a known to get it done. We were tired at the done to be done, but we had to go done forward. And when we say that, we said, that sounds criminal. And they said, no, we were just so high energy. Everything just came through. Everything just came through. They're showing that it just came through so hard, so fast that when they were building it, it broke up partnerships. It broke ties. So there's something about his energy that breaks stone. They're showing me like a blast of stone. So when we go through it and we go, yeah, we did this. Is it guarded? I mean, everything is pretty guarded. It asks. It asks. And that is the way that they would talk while building and doing construction. They wouldn't talk. They would go about. They had to stay to themselves and focus like anything else, like any other job. But there was something about building this monument where they really were a button lips. And it was to a point of a disagree. But look at it. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. Is it incomplete? It says right now there is a degree of completion, but going in is incomplete. And then when you walk out, you say, no, I got it done, DONE, and then I got it right, RIGHT. I did the whole tour correctly. And then you have to say, is this delusional? A lot of those monuments and memorials have such a high energy of mediumship that you kind of get this twirl about if you're sensitive. And for me, I like because it's such a thinning of the veil, I just get this nauseating feeling of I probably should not visit in this time of year. Incomplete cycle? No, I keep hearing incomplete cycle. Where is this incomplete cycle in Washington, D.C.? There's some attunement and atonement to be at bay. The star? No. How does this relate to where you fix everything in? You fix everything in. It really has. Because I mean, my reality is that you hear the TV in the background, and that's normal. I don't have a sea shed to make this absolutely perfect. But in reality, you have to slink about down there, and there's something about a wish fulfillment that it's not done. It's not done here. It's showing me a buildup, showing me atonement. There is a civil war. I do see Mary Lincoln. She's showing me the tea prior to going to Ford's Theater. Confirmed. It has something to do with Abraham Lincoln. Absolute mastery in what she did prior to that incident. So with that being said, what do you do? The Page of Swords says you have to do hard research, but it's going to be hard. And that people who are more attuned are going to pick it up. No, no. She left a son, a S-U-N, a soon, an S-O-O-N. It is very Asian pronouncement, a soon. On a travel. I see a Asian related. There was some sort of contract, a type of tea that she drank and was aware. And she was very skilled. She was very proper when she drank tea. I do see her reading tea leaves at time and causing large pauses in areas when needed. Was she a witch? No, I see she was just highly gifted. She wasn't doing spells, curses, or hexes. She really was pausing, pausing. So she was someone who was well balanced. I do see what she did there that was not finished or completed for atonement and attunement not completed due to the type of tea. I don't see arsenic. I don't see anything like the Boston Harbor, but it can cause alleviation from struggle, but it can cause a struggle at the same time. It was pretty heavy energy where you just can't, uh, understand. And this picture really shows that you have to elevate above that energy. You have to rise above. There's something that truly ends it and almost cuts out. And I don't see an actual no breath of life death. I see a type of death of an ending of its harshness, where you do have to be aware of everything. That's the Nine of Wands in reverse, being aware, hyper vigilant. She's showing me almost a catch of a gamble. It stops them in their tracks. It is quite on a spur of the moment, because this came through as high intuitive. She's showing me she would sit there in the morning, long hours, and just be quiet and just drink her tea and just listen. And when she would drink the tea, she's giving me this energy. And it wasn't like a type of nasty seductive. It was gaining and gathering where the balance was in this energy, and where she would say, all right, all done. And then she would go about her day and get dressed. She was very aligned. She's showing me she was on in her chakras, but they would shut off a lot, which would make things difficult. Her form of grounding and protecting was like a form of yoga. She's showing me it's an old form of exercise to correct the action that had come upon her, of a type of restlessness. And usually the women surrounding her would not do well. They would be pretty nasty, because they had to be on a schedule, and they would be imprudent with her. And they would get a message in a way unknown that they had to stop. The Ten of Swords says you can't do it enough at all. At all. Was it a finality of relief? Was it an ending of grief? Was it anything to propel forward, she would say, to make me stop what I was doing? Because I'm sitting here as the first lady, she would say, and my job is actually community matters. And I have to literally sit here and figure out what was wrong. So when it comes upon me, and it's still like this today, it's still like that today. Why am I repeat? I don't know. And that is how they are down there. They really take their time, because there's so much upon of energy. They literally have to plan their day. Absolutely plan their day. The Eight of Swords says, can you do it enough? No, no. It is a little bit deceitful. And I'm not defending in a way, but this is what I'm saying as a psychic, that they just have to take their time, even to this day, politicians, because there's a lot going on. They can't just move in fast. So when we do this and we see the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, what is actually true? What is actually true is, I just told them, just, you can just laugh. But basically, the Page of Pentacle is, it's a good offering in the morning. It's a good offering in the evening. It's a good offering in the day. What about Mr. President? So, President Lincoln, when he was in office with his wife, went about in a way unknown that was so incognito. It was a type of trolling, and they hated it, but they were good at it. They really were, because they knew how it felt to live in poverty. Illusional or delusional? There was a fire back then. Some things got lost. I didn't think of that. That's it. And they would just end it right there with just a couple words, just their energy. That's it. That's all they needed. So that day when you see Ford's Theater, I say there is a stop block still of that energy. And when they go around, even in the afterlife, they can do a stop block really hard where you don't do anything and they can uproot you. Is that dictatorship or is that source? It is a form of source. So when I actually look at it and I go to his memorial and they say stoic, and I say, no, no. When you look at that with a George Washington and then Ford's Theater, and then you go back to the Abraham Lincoln Memorial, you can't even make it up where people are walking up the steps and how giant it is. It is to portray how large his energy was on how big it was on the United States, where he could sit in one area and you felt him in a way that was disturbing. And that's why a lot of upset came through. You knew when he was upset, you knew when the first lady was upset. And that was what caused a lot of topsy-turvy at times. But it wasn't illegal either. It really stopped reunions. It still has a lot of residual affects there. It depends on the day of what's happening. That's where they still win to this day, all these historical figures. That is where they make people sit and listen and sit and talk and reflect and take a break down there because it's so intense, so intense. You can't be a complete master yet. Complete. Nine of Cups means discontent, unhappy. But there's securement, there really is. If you can make it down there and actually survive the energy of the influx of the seasons too, it has a lot of alleviation. It can break the bank depending on how you're living. I do see money loss at times, but imprudency was ill. But then we have all these artifacts too. There's so much conjuring and stirring up of everything. You just can't. If you have ill intent, it's going to be known very quickly. So how do you contain it? Because we see all these protests and what happened. It was it showed really quick the Capitol building, residual affect out, new moon back. It's just normal energy influx. It happens. People are guided by energy. They really are. Is it bad? No, it's not bad at all. Is it chaotic? Is this what we're looking for? The huge change? No, no. You got to sit secure before you can do a huge change down there. You got to run it 100%. And when you run it 100%, you're checking and checking and checking and checking down there to make sure that the evidence was clear, that the testimonies were clear, that historical records were clear, that the law is clear in a plain language before you can even do a celebration or a get together down there. Even the press secretaries are saying you just can't do it. You just can't walk in here and do whatever you want. It's going to disrupt, and they're very superstitious. You're like, the ghost down the lane is going to know it. And they're the honor. They're the judge down here. Sorry to say that, but just sit there with a stone face and figure it out. The Seven of Cups says we need to have options, though. You're right, you do. Go back to being guarded. So then when you say, no, I can't see anything. They're like, we already know. We already know. That's why they're very strict there, because they truly believe that things from the past come through and still dictate so hard in mediumship and energy and everything that you can't make a move down there without doing formality. It will uptick so bad that they make you walk away. And you may not even be a criminal. And this is my confirmation, the Ace of Swords. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, with that being said, how do you complete a cycle? And that's what this card is, the world in reverse. They can do a halt stop down there with just a look and a word, and then it reverts out to the rest of the United States, to the globe. And then they say, nope, don't do a thing. And that's where it gets a lot of nuisances and annoyances because of that foresight. And they're like, I want that. I want that. You have your own. Quit being reckless over here. And then you say it's trickery, it's witchcraft, it's hostage. It's absolutely, I'm going to protest. You have the right to protest as long as it's peaceful. And they're like, no, no, I'm going to destroy. Absolutely not. Does this become a political stance? Absolutely not. Why? It was strong. It was allowed. It was allowed. The energy allowed the protests. Halt, stop. No, I don't like this conversation. And it's not a bad thing that when I'm hearing when it's said, because then it made them rethink everything because everything turned. And that's where the true sorrow came in. This is a significant day, October 7th, because a family was broken up, multiple. We just use one, a family. It slinked in, and you go, hold on. And they do that, and they have to regain. And literally, I'm seeing President Lincoln, President Washington, and Jefferson saying, yeah, we caught greed in mediumship. We caught greed. That is the true psychic. Not really. All I'm doing is portraying how they act down there as a true psychic. Psychics can act like a certain way of certain people, living or deceased, as they lived in that life. Dirty dealings? No. The star? Still unfulfilled wishes. There's something still not built here. It's still not complete. And I hear not to be known. Yep. And I hear cover up. Perfect. Perfect. Call upon the presence and everything. Oh, they did it. Yep. They saw it. They saw something that they didn't like and they went, ill emotions offered. No teamwork. Yep. Stay in your lane. Justice, don't even go for it yet. Destabilization, lack of communication. No, we communicate. We're just not really getting it downloaded here. No, no. It's October, it's flu season. Break it up? No. Why? Contract. Two wands. In reverse. Yep. Not in front of mine. Happy. And then they just go about. They're actually not really communicating a whole lot because they have to get things done. We have elections, we have it. It really is such a turnout of a high, busy activity of a frequency that you have to keep going, keep going, keep going. But they are very present in the moment. They are grounded in reality. They have a lot of things going on. They're so hardened down there. They have to take breaks, long breaks, because they're exhausted, exhausted. I do see medical interventions a lot, depending on the individual. So we'll go to the Akashic Tarot, and what does it want us to know further about Washington, D.C.? I do see a tale of two worlds, of a separation of apart to get it done. This is an area of like karmic area. It's something of a smoke out, but there's no witchcraft. They don't always get the message right away. And I have to say, it is in the buildings when they finally sit down, when they finally get the message. The Ark of the Covenant says this. Look into the safes. What kind of safes? I don't know. You'll hear it. You'll get the message. Play on words? No. You'll look into the safes. So the garden says, did you plant? Did you get your garden? Did you till it? Did you cultivate? Did you get everything? The King of Keys says no. And that's how they're going to act all of a sudden. And you say, I can't live down there. I can't even stand this psychic reading. Nope. Pass unknown. Pass unknown. Is it judgmental? No. Am I throwing it out there? No. I'm showing you exactly what it's like down there every day. Setting your course. Why? I've actually been down there, and it's just be quiet. Just be quiet. It will set you forward when you come back. So is it continuous on? No. Usually once you leave the area it's showing, they get rest. They get rest. It's something of nope. So when you do that, can you do? No, you can't do. You can't fight it. But look at the placement of the trees, the cherry blossoms. That is meant to protect from and they do that. And they say contentment, contentment. Don't be complacent and content. You can't clear the way. The Queen of Roses says, well, you can't do it. You can't do it. Caught in the ruins? No, that's all it really wants you to know. No, fall is very significant down there. Spring and fall. It has a disrupt of the energy field. And when we had the northern lights up here recently, it really had a shatter the glass moment. So we're going to go to the ruins and see what else is there. So I see peach moonstones just for a little bit of lighter mood. Lagu, the flow. The flow of everything moves through like a wind through a storm. Perth, there is a hidden thing, and I also see the pear. Othala, estate and heritage. It's very cultivating. It's very cultural to the point where you say, I went to the doctor yesterday. When you do Rido, you say, yes, I did everything I was supposed to, because it is a hard ride in stoically when you ride in the vehicles down there. You gain so much momentum that you don't even realize that you're hard amped at times, and you become the wheel of luck. So that is why some of them will say, don't talk to me like that. Know who you're talking to. And when they see Degas, they say, uh-uh, uh-uh, you gotta contain yourself. You literally gotta look about your day when you see Degas. It will literally take your wealth away, and it will literally ash you meaning this: some forceful energy will come upon you. Do you see what I'm saying? Everything about this area in Washington, D.C., because of the architecture and the structure and everything in the history, will literally cement you, solidify you, make you, break you, or do something that you didn't know you were supposed to do. It's highly dictative. It's highly defensive here, to where it's an annoyance to the degree of a trolling, depending on who you are. With so wool, it is a hard strike through. So when you steal it, like you actually get so sick of a gray ashen pallor that you could be out of work for months, and it breaks fate and destiny for you, and it closes out deals. It causes a lot of havoc and just everything. Just know that it actually is a very powerful area, that it's highly warrior like when you go there, and it's not a bad thing. Everyone is at odds there. There's no even out on a torch through to end and get a bipartisan at times, because you don't know what's coming through next. That's so strong that it's powerful, absolutely powerful. With that being said, that is the end of the Washington look-ins and deep dives on how it could be like this right now. And then they give you that look. With that being said, any questions or concerns, you can look into the comment box, and you can email me or send me a message. Other than that, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.